Hey Jessica, how you doing? Yes, absolutely. Of course, I'm glad to provide you with the final critique. So let's go through your writing first. There's a few things here I want to address. I read my fellow classmates' critique, and of course, listened to yours. I understand I was having trouble with old style figures, small caps, letting, and other problem zones. I went back and hopefully solved many of these issues. You can please look at the booklet. Yes, of course I will. Let's do that. Let's look at the. Well, actually, let's do this. Let's look at these questions first, and then we'll go to the book. Okay. So, due to the font size loaded from Define, it was not able to obtain full style features. Um, I, so I had to improvise. Now my question is, what are some alternatives if not able to access these features from a specific font? Easy, and that's covered over in the announcements, the videos and the announcements of specifically how to set old style figures in small caps. So basically what you do is this is and you know, you have to be careful with a lot of the fonts that you download because you don't know what their capabilities are. In other words, you don't know if that font has assorted styles. You can't, in other words, the font can't grow as you grow. So for example, I've got clients that I've been designing for many years, and I've often designed a piece, and that piece kind of cultivates itself into other additional pieces. Okay, so if we do, let's say, a branding package for a client, and we use a free font or a font that we've downloaded without knowing the capabilities of that font, the additional styles of that font, the old style, the open type capabilities, etc., then we're kind of in a predicament because as that client grows and wants to use the branding to branch off and create other additional pieces based on that branding, we may not have the type of capability in that free font that we use. So there's always a caveat that comes along with free fonts and downloaded fonts, and that is, are they capable of growing as your client grows? I hope that makes sense. It's a really important point. If it doesn't make sense, let me know. I'll be glad to make some clarifications. Um, so what are some alternatives? I'll go over that in a second. I'll find if I were to print a booklet or any other printed material, is it best to change my images to CMYK before printing, or is there another way to perform this action? Well, yes, it does matter. And what you could do is it really depends on output. So if you know the output intent before starting a project, it helps immensely, specifically if you're going to professional output. So if you're using a printing service, right? An actual output CMYK printer, not your local Kinko's or something like that. But what I'm saying is that, so the first thing you want to know is you need to get with the actual printer to know, find out what their preferences are. So in other words, some printers prefer a native InDesign file. If that's the case, you need to ask them, do I convert my images to CMYK, or is that something that's done in the printing process? Another thing that to ask is, another thing to keep in mind is also if that printer requires or prefers a PDF file, then how do they want that set up? Okay, so in this particular instance, if you're going to print this at home, I would recommend, yes, convert the images to CMYK, then place them in your InDesign file. And the other thing that you want to know is if you are going to convert to PDF, the PDF X1A setting will convert those images to CMYK. And if you select print as your output for your PDF settings for export to PDF, it will convert to CMYK. So again, it's really dependent on the nature of the beast, so to speak. What does the printer prefer? What is the intent of the actual piece itself, etc. Okay, I hope those answer your questions. If not, let me know. And as I said, I'll be glad to clarify. Okay, let's jump over to the work. So I've got, this is your booklet, and then this is the 2 pages. So I think these actually, yeah, let me see something. These 2 pages, yeah, I think these 2 pages from the supplemental, I think these are more effective, because they're showing, it's not just an assortment of images, it's also got some typography, and there's some good alignment here too, and there's also some consistency in your typography. So I think that's good, and I think this alignment here is I think it looks better on this page as well, as opposed to this configuration. So this page And this page, yes, definitely in this layout. Okay, so let's go on. The cover looks great. Now, one thing I would recommend here is to bring this over. You're almost in alignment. And what I want to do here is this. Let me just grab my trusty straight edge over here. I want to bring this over and let's see. That, the thing I would like to see here really is this, your name does align with the T in intensity, and that's good thinking. But since this is kind of a separate composition, I would like your name to be aligned to something. I think the obvious thing would be the first D. So we're going to pull that over and align that with the first D. That'll take care of the cover. Let's go ahead to the first page. All right, so you were asking about alternatives for small caps and old style figures, and yes, there are alternatives. If the typeface that doesn't come with old style capabilities, so you can't set your numbers to old style figures, or you can't set your all caps to small caps, simply select and reduce by 1 point size. That should do it. Same thing with the numbers. Just select them and reduce the font by 1 point size. That'll take care of it. Okay, so I think your justified type settings are done pretty well. I don't see any unusual gaps. We don't have any orphans or widows on this page. I think this is good typesetting right here. Next page. Okay, so you kind of switched things up here, and on the second page, you're going with reverse type. And that means that you've got a light color type on a dark color background. Same thing with the old style figures, the same thing with the small caps, just reduce 1 point size. But what I would suggest here is to open up your kerning just a little bit. And that's a standard practice when you reverse type, is just to open up. I shouldn't say kerning, I should say leading. Again, I shouldn't say leading, excuse me. Open up your tracking. Okay, and so I would select this and just increase the tracking a little, just a touch, not much at all, just enough to give a little bit of extra space in between the letters in reversed type so that they're easier to read on that dark background. Again, we're looking good here, pretty good typeset. I don't see anything here that requires attention. Okay, next page. All right, this page is a little odd. Again, we've got reverse type, so open up your kerning. But what we have over here is we've got 2 different typesets on the same page, which points to a pretty significant inconsistency. Also, this page has a headline. This page has a headline. This page doesn't. I would go ahead and reduce the size of the images to add the headline in there to introduce this page. Definitely take a look at your actual leading here. This is much wider on this right side than it is on the left side, so that will have to be addressed as well. Again, and go through your entire typeset here. Go ahead and change all of those all caps to reduce those by a point size. Reduce all your numbers by a point size. And that should be pretty good. I see. Okay, references looks good. Nice job there. Oh my goodness, look at you. Good job hanging your punctuation. Outstanding. I love it. Good job. What I would do on this page is instead of aligning this second page of references, I would go ahead and pull this down. As a matter of fact, there's something you can do also that you include a closure page, which basically is a summary. Okay, and then pull all your references to the right-hand side, which you can reduce the type size on this. It's not really that important, but I would go through all of your references, and again, old style, reduce by a point size, etc., for the numbers as well as the small caps. But let's get references over on the right-hand side page. You might have to eliminate this and reduce the type size for all of these to fit. Good job, image references, good job. And then go ahead and include like a closure page, which is basically a summary page. So it's just summarizing what we've gone through in this presentation. My other recommendation is this page right here. Boy, this is begging for a quote. It's just begging for a quote right there. A Chip Kidd quote, and he's got plenty, so you shouldn't have any difficult finding a really cool, interesting quote to add there. So, all right, and that's really it. I think you're looking fantastic here. Really nice job, good attention to detail. And let me just make sure there's no other. I think I got all the questions. Okay, all right, no problem. As I said, it's my pleasure to help, of course. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be glad to make any necessary clarifications. But do so quickly because as you know, we are rapidly finishing things up. All right, Jessica, great job, great start. Thank you very much. Looking forward to the changes in your final project. Thank you very much.